And welcome back to another episode of the Talk to Tanner Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercises to help make you the absolute best entrepreneur you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most. You become better for not only you, but the people you love and care about most. You gotta be a little uncomfortable and take that leap of faith. You're in control of the process. I'm here with you. If we don't continue to grow, if we don't continue to move on, we will be sad and upset. This morning's episode will be kind of fun. We're just going to talk about basic entrepreneur accounting and economics. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, how boring could you get, Tanner? 7 in the morning, you're going to be talking about accounting and economics? Yes, we're not going to go too deep into the details. More so, we're just trying to remind ourselves how this applies to our own situation when we need to check in on this. As an entrepreneur, I studied finance. I got a master's degree in finance in college. And it's funny how much, even, I don't say that to like brag versus like, it's very apparent to me that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with the bookkeeping side of things, that we struggle with keeping up with the expenses, struggle with managing our businesses, and also being investors into the public markets or other investments, whatever vehicles we choose. The financial markets do a really good job of rewarding companies that perform in certain ways. And we're going to go over some of those certain ways. And then you can ask yourself, how can I be the business and how can I improve my own value to get to my financial goals, to get to my support goals, all of my overall business goals. That's what this episode will be directed and for. So accounting and economics, let's go ahead and go to the board. I'm going to go over a few of these tips I have in my show notes on each of these ones, just basics that we all need to know. Income minus expenses is profit. So you probably already know this. You're probably thinking, Tanner, duh, I learned that in like the 3rd grade. But the check-in is to ask yourself, how can we make these two parameters move? What is our strategy to help improve these? Sitting down is like, okay, what are some ways that I can actually improve my income for my company? Is it focusing on maybe a new course? Is it focusing on raising my prices? Is it focused on rolling out a completely new product that we've been working on, maybe with a whole different type of class? Or maybe we're doing some add-ons and we're doing some upsells for our current client base. So just getting that into your noodle this morning, maybe we're thinking a little bit like, okay, how can I actually increase my income? And then also, are you tracking your expenses? If you have a business or if you're not in a business and you're just working a regular job, asking yourself periodically, checking in, are you budgeting? Are you budgeting once a week? Are you budgeting once a month? Like asking yourself, when am I keeping track of my expenses? And then understanding that all relates back to profit. And companies are valued off of the money that they produce, the assets that they own. And that leads us right into number 2. Assets minus liabilities. I'm just putting lib here. Liabilities equals net worth. Do you know your net worth? Have you tracked your net worth in the past? So this is all of your assets, all of the things you own. So for me, that would be, I prefer to buy, and I am not a financial advisor. I do want to make that very clear. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an investor and an entrepreneur. Talk to a financial advisor or a financial professional if you're looking for financial advice. I'm just saying this is what I do. I like indexes that match large companies. I like the S&P 500 a ton. I think it's one of the most proven thing. I like Vanguard and I like Schwab. I like both of those companies a ton. I like that. So I have some low indexes. We have rental properties. We have money market funds. Money market funds are just like it's like a cash savings account essentially. So that's where our assets are at. And then the liabilities would be like the debt that we possess. So the debt, say if you have student debt, maybe you have college debt, maybe you have a car payment, your car is not an asset. I guess the equity in your car is the asset, but the debt on the car is not. The debt on my properties is not an asset. These are all liabilities, things that come out of your pocket. The simplest way I've ever heard this explained to me, assets and liabilities, is does it take money from your pocket? Does it take money from your pocket, or does it put money in your pocket? My rental properties put money in my pocket. Of course, when they don't, stuff breaks and stuff, I got to pay for it. But if it puts money into my pocket, it's an asset. If it takes money out of my pocket every month, then it is a liability. And assets minus liabilities equate to your net worth. And I think it's very important if you want to have children or if you want to set yourself up successfully for the future, is to really focus on this number, net worth, and to continue to improve it. Be very careful about becoming too obsessed with this number. I think a lot of times people can get too caught up in attaching their net worth to the quality of their life. Like a lot of financial advisors who I know and meet, they have high net worths, but I wouldn't take their life any day of the week. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of spreadsheet management, a lot of analysis, a lot of diving into the news 24/7. Not my cup of tea, but you do want to make sure that you are familiar. If you go to Excel and then you write this stuff out, that's what I used to do in the past. Now I have a template that I bought from this one course that I took a couple months ago about finances and economics and all that kind of stuff. But I would recommend starting with Excel if you don't feel like paying for something, or sign up for a course and kind of learn how that works, or get a tool that can kind of be a net worth tracker. You should have this with you at all times, especially if you want to start buying assets, because you're going to have to go to banks, you're going to have to talk to banks, and they're going to want to know your assets, your liabilities, your income, and your expenses and stuff. So last key on accounting is financial analysis. Is it trending up or down? Is it trending up or down? So this is what my main point on financial analysis that I wanted to get through is, if before you invest in anything, by God, you have to dive into it really deep. You have to be willing to read the books. But just if you're going to be investing, if you're going to be buying a particular asset class, such as maybe rental properties, or maybe you just want to start savings accounts or checking that out, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go to your local library, get a few books. Turns out libraries are free and they have everything you could ever want to learn about in the world. You can go to a library, or you could order some books online, or you could just go to a financial professional, whatever you'd want to do, or maybe a professional already in the field, maybe in real estate. You want to talk to somebody who's already bought rental properties, doing the financial analysis, and then kind of looking at, I put the ups and down arrows because it's good to understand whether your industry is trending up or if it's trending down. What would be an example of that? I think housing and the squeeze on housing, I don't think it's ever a bad time to own property. It's sometimes a bad time to sell property, but to own it and to rent it out, and I think that's usually continuously a good thing. Or maybe right now, the financial analysis, we're talking about how the S&P 500 might be slightly expensive, and the real value should be more around like 3,700, and it's at like 4,000 right now. So just kind of doing your research and understanding what some of this lingo means, I think, can be very helpful. Doing your own financial analysis and getting your own accounting on there, with the income you're making, the expenses you're making, the assets and the liabilities. And number one rule, never lie on this shit. Never absolutely lie. I know people lie to their friends about how type of money they make or the assets that they have. Please, whatever you do, you absolutely never lie about this stuff, because you'll get in a lot of trouble with the banks. I've literally heard of people lying to banks about that, and that's called fraud, and you can get in a shitload of trouble. the IRS and the Treasury and stuff, they're big, powerful organizations, and they don't mess around. So I'm just saying, be careful about that. Always tell the truth when it comes. Tell the truth all the time, right? But like really, like don't go to banks and try and get loans with faulty information. You'll get get kicked. Okay. Economics. So let's talk about, so rule number one. So when you're studying economics and you're just trying to learn things, number one, supply and demand. Supply and demand. Understanding your own business, the own interest that you want. Is there a demand? Can you provide the supply? If it's something that you're interested in, you want to dive into, say you want to be a nutrition coach, reading, finding the books that allow you to learn about being a nutrition coach, and then going out there and seeing, is there a demand for weight loss? You bet your ass. Is that a pun or not? I don't know. I'll take it. It's early this morning. Demand must be there. You got to have the demand for what it is that you want to do. And then figuring out how you can come up with the supply. It's good to understand in economics that just the supply and demand really does control the things. It controls the price, number one. And also, it kind of just gives us a good ability to understand what it is that we're really doing. And it's like, okay, how can I increase demand? Do I need to get in front of people? Is there a demand for what it is I need to do? And then do I have the ability and the supply to provide that? Do I need to raise my prices? Do I need to just increase my client intake? Just kind of playing with these numbers back and forth in your own situation is good. These are the basics. It's never a bad time to go over the basics. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan taught me that. They talk about all the time. You need to go over the basics. Next is cause and effect. For every action, there is a reaction. So understanding the actions that I take will have an effect on, say, my bottom line, my profit. So just kind of being this one, I wanted to quickly glance over this one, cause and effect. So what would be something that we could talk about? Okay, if I do this today, if I read these investing books, I'm probably going to make smarter choices on my investment journey. So just understanding that your actions have an effect. And it works just like that in the economy. When companies hire good management and good employees and they get better products out there at more efficient rates, their supply becomes more efficient and they're able to meet demand, then their profits go up. But kind of trying to use that and leverage that towards what you're doing. So cause and effect. There's a reaction to the actions that you take. The actions that you take today are important. One day at a time. Let's conquer something. Let's do something. And then another thing on economics that I think everyone should roughly understand is government actions. Oh boy, is the government powerful. Government action. Okay. So when it comes in economics, there's a few things that the government can and will do to influence the economy to make it better. The goal, so there's the Federal Reserve. Also, you can think of them as the central bank. They control the money supply and the interest rates, like the flow of the cash that's coming in and out of the economy. So what are some things that the government will take action on that will affect economics that we should be studying and try and understand? One of them is taxes. Taxes is a big thing to understand. Like if you're going to get into real estate, understanding your property taxes, understanding your state taxes, understanding your federal taxes. There's a crap load of taxes in a bunch of different ways, or understanding capital gains tax. So if you buy an investment, I'm kind of going into the weeds here this morning, but I like this stuff. If you sell an investment within a year, you're going to get hammered on taxes. That's called short-term capital gains. If you sell something after a year, that's long-term, it tends the rates are a lot lower depending on the tax bracket that you flow into from how much money that you make. So taxes is something that the government applies to affect the economy, to create resources. The next one is law. So the government will write laws to help create and moderate and dictate actions of the people within the country. What is an example of this? You legally have to have insurance. You legally have to have car insurance if you want to be driving on the public roads, if you want to be driving by schools, if you want to be driving on the interstates. You have to have insurance for your car to some degree. Yeah, you can get that cut rate stuff. I think it's like the General. I always laugh at their commercials. But you can get something that you just got to have some type of proof of insurance for, I think it's minimum's liability. I'm not an insurance guy. I hate insurance, but I think it's genius. It's if you can get into a business, that has the law on your side, the law, like if you sell insurance, like these people legally have to have this crap. So they're going to be coming in the door and they have to have this in some way, shape, or form. So law is very, very important, and government action dictates that. So understanding the laws and understanding how that works, I think, is really crucial. So looking out for that law. That's kind of goes with regulations. They also control the money. So you can think of money. You can think of the money supply. You can think of the cash supply, such as during COVID, they printed a crap load of money. And this is something, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but every time when I was studying finance in college, every single time in my case study work, when I was going through the history of every time the government printed a bunch of money, everything swelled up. And the only thing, like inflation, the cost, I think the dollar went up like 13%. It inflated, so your purchasing power. We say if I have a dollar and then I go spend it at the grocery store, the dollar was worth 13% less than it was the year before. And that's because they printed out an absolute crap load of money. And the government can do that to help stimulate the economy and continue to keep spending. And service-based business, manufacturing-based businesses, and everything keeping flowing. They also control the credit. So you'd be pretty blown away. It's like I can't remember the statistic, but it's I want to say it's like over like 90% of all of the money out there is like credit, which is wild to think. It's kind of scary, but it is credit, and the government is able to dictate that, the limits on that. And the people, and they do that by issuing things out for other countries to buy, for investors to buy, and lines. So credit. And then the last thing is like public services and security. So the last thing on the government would just be like public services and amenities and stuff. Maybe you look into your investments and you look into your business. How can I leverage some of the great things that they're doing and they're investing? Like, what is your town known for? What are they investing their tax dollars into? These are some things that it's good to anchor your businesses around, such as, for example, our town spends an egregious amount of money on the schooling system compared to everything else that goes on in the town. It's a small town. It's really based on like raising a family and this and that. It makes sense that they're dumping it all into the school systems. So I buy rental properties that are close to the school systems. Are the property taxes higher there? Yes. Are the places always rented? Pretty much. So it's like there's trade-offs to everything, and maybe just going over some accounting, going over some economics, doing some studying. Some economics that you can study on to help with your own journey, to help with your own business endeavors, to help you achieve your goals and live the life that you know and you want and you deserve. So this was Accounting and Economics 101. I thought I'd go over these basics. These are things, it's never a bad time to go over the basics. Look at your own portfolio, look at your strategies and your ideas and see how they can benefit for you. Enjoy more of today. It goes by fast because remember, when the sun goes down, poof, April 19th will be gone, 2023, and it'll be April 20th. Oh my gosh, April 20th. April 20th tomorrow. Should we smoke weed on the show? Am I allowed to do that? Thanks for checking out our content. If you want to learn more about investing in yourselves and working with me and our company personally, we offer a 6-week Total Life Mastery Bootcamp where we go over the most important topics to make sure that our life has the foundation we need to catapult us forward, to take the right and proper actions, to become happier and more productive, guaranteed, or our money back.